it's about that time because yet again we are live from the Crescent City to each coast that you can think of. It's Nemo Nation, your highway home for conversation, stories, and the spirit of the road. Now here's Jimmy Mac and hopefully Dave Nemo.
Dave Nemo is going to stick around because just for a little bit here because he's listened to this next guest a lot. He hasn't gotten a chance to talk to him. Guys, the phone line will also be open for this guest if you want to drop in. You've got questions or concerns about your toy purchases. This is our first chance to get a chance to talk to our good friend Terry Taylor. And as we kind of get up to speed, our segments are coming back online. Terry normally would appear with us once a month on a Friday. He's had so much going on and a kind of an exciting week. He was even doing it yesterday. I tried to give him a call, and he was knee-deep in all the events and going on. You can hear Terry laughing right now. Dave Nemo wanted to say hi, so I thought I would bring him in here as well, too. Tell our good friend, Mr. Terry Taylor, good morning, Dave.
Hey, Terry, good morning. I've heard you so many times on the show. Really enjoy getting a chance to talk with you one-on-one. And welcome to our new platform. Dave. Yeah.
Oh, that's very exciting. It's so nice to actually meet you in person.
Yeah, in person. We're combining voice and person into person. Terry, it's really cool because you have one of the coolest, hippest spots over in Lawrence, Kansas. And, we're here in the middle of New Orleans at the Fastport Studios at the Degas House. So now we both have someplace really cool to show off to each other when we finally make our way to each other. Because we got this great studio with all these old truck driving albums. We're going to be putting up on the walls and frames and on stands, all kinds of memorabilia from Dave. We got a Willie Nelson poster, some Elvis posters. We actually found an old advertisement for a concert by Sha Na Na. Do you remember them?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And underneath that we have a Charlie Daniels concert poster, a lot of groovy stuff here, and a full page old Rolling Stone article on Bob Dylan. And I'm talking about when Rolling Stone was like so big that it was a coffee table magazine. Remember when it was
Absolutely.
That big? All those days.
Yes.
It's kind of a perfect place for you, Terry. We normally talk about what toys are on the shelf and all that kind of stuff. We talked about this the last time we talked. You were heading into this. You have had a remarkable week, and I kind of wanted to let our listeners know and let Dave know a little bit about what happened last week over in your neck of the woods.
Well, there's a horror convention called Crypticon Kansas City that happens every year. I think this is its 15th or 16th year, somewhere in that area. It's been a pretty big staple, and they bring it on all the horror guests that you could imagine, Leatherface, all the Jasons, the new Terrifier movies. Plus, like, this year they had a bunch of Star Wars royalty, like Warwick Davis and some fun people like that. But the best thing I think that happened to me in the store this weekend is Kevin Smith, who you may or may not know was the director who did Clerks, Dogma, Clerks 2 and 3, Chasing Amy, Red Alert. He did
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah.
Yeah. How could I forget? Yeah.
Come on.
Silent Bob movies, Mallrats. So he was doing a performance at Liberty Hall in Kansas City, which is just, like 2 blocks from my store on the same street. And I remember my wife and I are huge Kevin fans. He's one of our favorite humans in the world because regardless if you're a small movie maker, a small store owner, anyone who is starting their own independent business, Kevin is the staple that you should go by. He financed his first movie, $15,000 on a credit card, rented out a convenience store, and he just had a dream, wishing a dream, and just went. And I very, very, very much look up to this human being. I can't even really put it into words.
Well, no, and so if there's a little guy that needs a hand up, that needs a rocket boost to their endeavor and their heart's in the right place, Kevin Smith is going to show up there to make sure that they get some friends to rally around them. That's been a consistent MO of his life, right?
Yes. Yeah, and it's really funny. So I guess I won't jump ahead. I'll keep going and then go because I also had someone one of the guests from the convention come up to me about Kevin. So I'm driving to Kansas City. I had already spent so that was on Friday. So Thursday I spent 12 to 14 hours loading in, and with a convention, everyone's like, "Oh, you have the best life." You know, they come to the convention and they just see you having fun. Like, even though I sell toys, people also want to take their pictures with me and have me sign stuff. And I feel like the luckiest guy in the world because I'm selling toys, but for some reason people really like to come hang out too. I feel I can't even like put it in the words how lucky I feel a lot of the times. But you know, like the load in and load out at these conventions is brutal. Liz and I have built this big canopy thing. I mean, just building our grading setup before one stitch of toy on takes 6+ hours.
Oh, wait. I'm going to stop you one more time because I want Dave Nemo really quickly to tell you something. He can completely relate to the idea of having to go to a conference or a convention and do his own setup. You know what I'm talking about? Dave, tell him about Nemoville really quickly. Just really quickly.
Oh, my goodness. When we went to a couple of the big truck shows, this is several years ago, Terry, we had something called Nemoville. We brought in our own palm trees and park benches and carpet, 40 by 90 feet. And we had like a dozen sponsors had their booths in Nemoville, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a lot of choreography to get people in the right position and make sure everybody's happy.
That's for sure. That is for
That's
sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I figured you would enjoy that. So, okay, so I'm gonna keep you on track because I'm the one that took you off track. So you and Liz have to set up at the convention. So talk about that a little bit, then you can keep moving on from that point.
Yeah. So Thursday was all setup day, and for me it never stops because I have a full 12-hour day of setting up in Kansas City. I drive back to Lawrence. Then I have to do all my accounting, restocking, and everything from the business, because the store still is open even if I'm not there. I have amazing workers that fill in for me. So Friday, which is when Kevin Smith was in Lawrence doing his speaking engagement at Liberty Hall, I don't text and drive, but I do have my phone mounted on my dash. So in case there is an emergency at the store, I'm able to either take a phone call or quick grab my phone and
hands-free. That's what you're doing. You got it. You got it going on.
Yeah. So I'm driving, and all of a sudden I get a text from Keith, who's one of my main workers. Oh my God, he's here! And I'm like, okay, I'm driving, and he's like, Kevin Smith is in the store right now. I'm like, oh my goodness. All right. So I'm driving, and then I keep getting texts, and the store, the physical, I've been doing conventions for, 14, 15 years. The store's only been open for 7 years, but the first thing I did on the register for our store when we opened was in the movie Clerks from the early 90s, Kevin's first film. It says on the register, if you plan to shoplift, let us know. Thanks. And I've had the same
brilliant
on my register, and I just keep retaping it, no matter how tattered it gets. And I've modeled it exactly how they had it in the movie. And so all of a sudden I start getting pictures of Kevin Smith with my register, like next to my register, next to the sign. And Keith, who's one of my main workers, he, just on the off chance that Kevin would be in the store that day, he pre-made one of those signs behind the counter so Kevin could sign it for me. So he had Kevin sign it, and Kevin signed it. Terry, you honor me, sir. Love, Kevin Smith. And I guess he was in there for probably like an hour taking pictures with fans. And plus, being a store owner and having your customers come in and see someone famous like that in your store and being able to take a picture of them, you can't buy that kind of PR, It was just crazy. So I'm driving to Kansas City, seeing all these images come in, nothing I can do about it. And I did have a fleeting moment. I was like, you know what? There's a median coming up. I'm only like 25 minutes out from Lawrence. If I turn around right now, head back, I could maybe make it to the store while he's still there. But I figured, I have to do the convention. I have to open on time. I got to keep going. So I went. But I guess, and then one of our workers, Max, he also does security at Liberty Hall. And I guess Kevin on stage talked about the store and said just very, very nice things, and made my heart just fill, because doing it, as you all know, as independent workers yourselves, you know how labor intensive doing your job is, and it's late nights, early mornings, and sometimes you're like, sometimes you need fuel to keep going, and I definitely sometimes need fuel to keep my eye on the prize with the store, and definitely having something like that makes, really, really reinvigorates me to keep going.
I tell you this, Terry, by the way, and I'm so glad you pointed that out, which is one of the reasons why we love having you on so much, whether it's talking about the impact of tariffs on your store or about whatever kind of movies for the season people should be watching and how they compare them with toys. Give me a minute here, by the way, to kind of give you a shout-out and then a shout-out to somebody who's a regular listener. You can find Terry at 1313mockingbirdtoys.com. He has a great social media presence over on Facebook. You can find it at 1313 Mockingbird KS for Kansas. Same deal over on Instagram. And then on the Tube of You, like we are on the Tube of You, you can find Terry there as well at Mockingbird Lane Toys over there as well. I wanted to take a moment here, by the way, Terry, and let Dave know this too. Our good friend Trucker Bosun, and I want to see if maybe he gets promoted to Highway Angel for this, did a good deed on Thursday. He pushed a stalled minivan onto the shoulder that was blocking the left lane coming into Memphis. What was crazy, he said, was more than a dozen people just running around without doing anything to help. It turns out that and we're going to get Kevin to call in, another Kevin, by the way, that's who Trucker Bosun is. We're going to get him to call in at some point and tell us all the details of the story, because I just think it's remarkable. It's amazing, isn't it? Because you're a small business owner. Dave and I are small business owners. And one of the things that's always interesting to me is that it's the small business owners who are the ones, like our good friend Trucker Bosun, who are the quickest to help, because they know what a simple breakdown can often mean. They know what the idea of a power surge at your store can mean, and they're always the first people to step up and help because they get it, right?
Yep. Yeah, I feel anyone that's a small business owner, or essentially is the purveyor of their own destiny, I think gives you a different view on life, on things you do. And I bet, almost all your listeners can relate, because essentially they're pretty much all their own bosses as well. And it makes you more hyper aware, I think, of people around you and maybe heartaches and things that can happen to people. And I think it makes you more empathetic, more aware, and more human. At least what I've found. Very few smaller business owners that I've ever met in my lifetime have not been wonderful human beings. Hands down.
Yeah, because the further away you get from the people that work from you, and it's why the best big business owners are the ones who actually get on the floor and actually intermingle and actually meet and care about the daily concerns, the people that live for them in many ways. Many of those people live for them. I mean, I don't know if you saw, and we didn't talk about it a lot, as much as we possibly could have, but Fred Smith passed away, founder of FredX. Dave, you saw that, right?
Yeah.
And the outpouring of love for him in his direction that came his way was a testament to him, like literally being on the tarmac. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are a lot of people who were deeply, deeply moved that he was always there. And like Dave, he had a really, he and like Charlie Douglas and Dave, they had this crazy proprietary idea that since nobody was flying planes at night, maybe they could deliver stuff by flying planes at night. And, it's how small businesses become big business. Okay. All right. That's enough of that. All right. I want to get back to you here, Terry, because, Dave, Dave is a fan of the old movies. I always pick on Dave and say that his universe exists someplace between American Graffiti, Smokey and the Bandit, and Star Wars. I was kind of curious, and I'm going to buy you some time to think here. Are there any toys from any of those movies that you know of? Now, Star Wars, of course, we'll kind of put that to the side. We got to get Dave an Obi-Wan action figure. I don't know if you know this, but Dave looks like Obi-Wan. He really does. It's what he looks like. Go look up his picture. But are there any toys from Smokey and the Bandit or American Graffiti that you know of?
Nothing that I know of from American Graffiti. Obviously, there's posters and shirts and things like that. Smokey and the Bandit has had, it was a Trans Am, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I know. There's been various models and different die casts of, the trademark Trans Am. They never, as far as I know, and I could be wrong on this. I don't think they ever did any action figures or anything in that respect, but they definitely did some die casts through the years. Now they haven't done anything in recent times, but more in like into the early 80s and stuff when merchandising toys was really becoming more of a thing. But yeah, those are the only things I really know of.
I was thinking, given Burt Reynolds' mustache, that there should be a Funko Pop of Bandit. I mean, that Snowball and Bandit at least should have Funko Pop dolls. I mean, that's the one that like you would sell them like not you, but anybody would sell them like crazy. All those dudes who like that stuff, right?
Oh yeah, and Funko Pops put out 100 to 150 new Funko Pops per month. And so you do the math and how many that is a year. That's pretty crazy. So there might actually be Funkos already, but for me as my store, I've gotten to the point where I've honed it in very well on which genres sell very well in my store. And for me, like Funkos, there's just so many like that. My vendors I go through, they literally know to just call me if it's horror, sci-fi, anime, like Star Wars and Marvel, and a lot of the other kind of white noise they kind of cut out because there's just so many to go through. So there absolutely could, honestly it would not surprise me if there was not a Smokey and the Bandit Funko Pop. And what was the orangutan's name?
Oh, that's Clyde from Every Which Way But Loose. And by the way,
I can't believe I just did that.
No, it's okay. By the way, you're going to be so thrilled to find out, guys, it is true. One of the great things about these new studios, which, by the way, is brought to you by Fastport, fastport.com, and go to nationalapprenticeship.org. They're the ones who actually funded the studio. There is, in fact, a Bandit Funko Pop.
Awesome.
And it comes with a Trans Am. That's awesome. Dave, when you get a chance, I'm telling Dave now to go online and to type in Funko, Funko Pop, and also type in Smokey and the Bandit and watch what you get. And they have it in two forms. They have one of just the doll of Bandit, but they also have a Bandit with a Trans Am that you can fit the Bandit into. By the way, speaking of Funko Pops, did you see the Blair thing? Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, I have that in order. It just hasn't arrived at the store yet.
I tell you what, Terry, since we're introducing people to this new platform and introducing you to the new platform, we had a guest a couple of weeks ago, and she's trying to set the Guinness Book of World's Record for the most parades marched in a single year. And she lives here in the city of New Orleans, and she is a massive Mardi Gras fan, as you probably can imagine. She's going to stop by. She is going to stop by the store. Stop by the studio, and she's going to build us a wall. We have a number of walls here that we haven't decorated yet. She's going to build us a Mardi Gras wall. I was wondering if, in fact, now I'd buy all the stuff. If I bought all the stuff for a John Carpenter wall or for a horror trucking movie wall, would you do us the honor of actually putting that together for us? And Dave, mute your thing.
What have I got on? I don't even know what I have on.
Dave's got something on, by the way. He just put something on. He's got the computer. But would you do us the honor of helping us put together a wall display for horror trucking movies?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of fun stuff you can get, even with like cool VHS covers and things like that, like Duel. There's so many, even if it isn't toys, but like cool, like movie associated things, because that was a thing for quite a while. Was like trucking, even like things like Maximum Overdrive and stuff, like trucking, like thriller / horror movies. Oh, that's a whole genre.
Yeah, Joyride is particularly horror. Joyride is so good that there are 3 alternative endings to Joyride, and all of them are good. That's the craziest thing. All of them, it's like a wealth of horrifying endings, by the way. All right, let's shift over to your store finally. After having talked about everything but your store, what's happening right now? What are you looking forward to? What are you doing for the 4th of July? What is going on at 1313 Mockingbird Toys?
Well, I'm essentially today, Liz and I, once I get off the phone here, we'll go grab a little bit of lunch, and then we have to, even though I have amazing employees that hold it down while we're gone, but essentially we were gone for 4 days, which I have horrible store anxiety. And so I go after a con each day. When it's a con, I can drive home because, we do conventions that are farther away that I can't just drive home every night and do stuff. But even with me going there because I was at the store about I'd be at the con till probably like 10, get home back to Lawrence at 11, and I'd be in the store till midnight to 2 every night trying to do my accounting and a little bit of straightening. But there's still, Liz and I have to pretty much just go store repair today as far as like restocking, just general cleaning, things like that we as anal store owners do every day, just doesn't get done while we're gone. So we're going to do that, recuperate. For the 4th, I ran a record store back in my hometown, and I was the manager, but not the owner. Like I'm the owner of my current store, but the owner of Ernie November, the old record store I was manager of, his policy was, we'll be open every day, every holiday, as long as someone volunteers to work. I will never force anyone to work. But all of us were either touring musicians or just like a misfit band of latchkey kids that didn't really have families to go home to. So this record store was always open on holidays. And it was great. Customers came in, other people who didn't necessarily have family close by or feel like they belonged anywhere would come to the store, and we would eat Thanksgiving dinner together if we were there, Christmas dinner, exchange gifts with customers. And so when I started my own store, when I moved here, I tried to bring that same mentality to the store. And since I only had, I didn't actually hire employees till pretty recently, it was always me. So I would just be, and my wife is uber supportive of anything I try to do at the store. So she's like, you know what, if you think it's important to be open on Christmas, so it's customers can come in, we're going to do it. So we trialed all these holidays. Christmas is great. We do great on Christmas. Lots of customers come in and we just have fun. But I will say the 2 holidays that do not work for our store are July 4th and New Year's Day.
Hey, by the way, Terry, I'm going to make you laugh again. Dave has been smiling ear to ear. That pretty much was Dave's policy for over 50 years, that we were open for business. And our Christmas days on the Dave Nemo show are remarkable because we would put out an APB to everybody who was a contributor on the show to ask them to kind of show up and just wish everybody Merry Christmas. The first year we did it, we had to schedule all the way back until early Christmas Eve because people filled up the slots so quickly. We had 16 guests on one year to come in and just tell the drivers Merry Christmas. So we totally relate. The 2 days that we have a problem with are New Year's Eve and the 4th of July. We actually program it from pillar to post, meaning we have a lot of historians and people celebrating the holiday come on. But it is the 2 big ones where it's like we don't expect a lot of phone calls and we don't get them, and that's just kind of it's the same model that's been run for quite some time for a while. Man, it feels like a small business thing. It's kind of like we're open for business because you're open for business, and that's so important to kind of make sure people know that. And people want to get away from their families at Thanksgiving at the end of the day. People want to get away from their families at the end of Christmas. That's enough of that nonsense, right?
100%. And so July 4th, we won't be open, but just coincidentally, there is a gentleman that has a 20 by 20 storage unit filled with Star Wars toys here in Lawrence. And he's been asking, and that is labor intensive. When someone tells me they have a storage unit that big filled with toys, it's going to be a day and a half of like straight up work going through it. And so he's been very patient with me about, he's like, hey, could you come over today? And I'm like, for me, trying to block out a full workday to be able to just look at a collection, because he has a collection doesn't mean I want the whole collection. So I have to go through every toy, item by item, single by single, pull it out, go through, look it up the price, tell him what I'm going to offer. And so for weeks he's been trying to get me to look at his storage unit because he just, he says it doesn't do any good. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm closed on July 4th, and I'm not doing any family stuff till 5 or 6 at night. What are you doing on July 4th? And he was like, actually, I'm not. My family's out of town. I'm not doing anything. So July 4th, I'm going bright and early to this guy's humongous storage unit, and he and I are just going to go through toys together and hopefully take some good toys home and hopefully give this gentleman some money too. So that's going to be my July 4th.
Terry, by the way, we are out of time. Nice, fun new segment, huh? We don't have to actually take commercial breaks. We just go through an entire time and get a chance to kind of shoot the breeze. Dave Nemo has joined us this morning, too. He actually stuck around a half an hour longer than he usually does because he said, I want to meet Terry. And it turns out you guys have a lot of stuff in common in regards to how you ran your businesses for many, many years. Terry, it's great to hear from you. Also, I'm so thrilled that you got a chance to meet somebody that you admire and look up to. I think Kevin Smith's a pretty groovy dude, too. Go to 1313mockingbirdtoys.com. Guys, please go over to 1313 Mockingbird KS Kansas over at facebook.com. Terry's got all kinds of great content that continues to roll. Lots of great videos. Hey, Dave, tell Terry goodbye.
Terry, it was really good to meet you and good to listening to you and Jim talking, and I'll continue to be a fan.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I really appreciate letting me be on your show.
By the way, it's one of his favorite segments, as he says, it's guy stuff. Thank you, Terry. Good talking to you. Be safe. Go have lunch with Liz. Have a great day.